Live from the studios of NBC 12 and ABC 25, this is Good Morning Jacksonville at 6:30.
Good morning. We are live in Bradford County this morning, where all schools in the Bradford County School District are closed today following a threat left on a voicemail for the Bradford County Middle School. That happened last night around midnight. Now, since then, around 6 a.m., all parents should have received a call that schools are closed today, and I just received new information from the Stark Police Department that they already received a tip as of just about an hour ago of a possible suspect, and they say that suspect, of course, they're going to be checking that out, and whoever is found guilty of leaving that threat could face a range of different charges, from a simple threat to a terroristic threat, depending, of course, on how serious that threat is. The PIO is going into the Stark Police Department right now to listen to that voicemail for the first time. We're going to have another update for you coming up in 15 minutes. Back to you guys.
Scenes of panic at LAX after reports of shots fired late Sunday evening. But as it turns out, police say there was no gunman and no shots were fired. Investigators say that the reports were spurred by loud noises only. There's no word yet on exactly what those noises were. The situation did lead people to pour out onto the sidewalks, as you can see here, and onto the tarmac. It was a chaotic situation. Now, this incident comes 2 weeks after the similar situation that happened at JFK, you may remember, where reports of shots fired turned out to be unfounded.
It's a lot quieter as cleanup continues over at Everbank Field this morning. Last night, the Big Cats took the field to a pandemonium, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, how exciting was that on Sunday Night Football? The Jaguars' first team did not have the best of outings. In fact, a little sloppy. Second, third stringers, though, picked it up in the second half, and they did lead the Big Cats to a 26-21 win over the Bengals. How do we feel about that heading into the regular season? We'll see, as the starters will not be playing against Atlanta in that final preseason game. We'll talk sports in a moment, but we got to track the tropics. Meteorologist Mike Prangley doing that for us in the Weather Center. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, hey, I was talking fantasy football a little with Lindsay there. I picked up a bear. I know she likes the Chicago Bears, so I picked up one player there. I can't remember his name, though. He's like the 14th pick. Now, as far as our weather goes, from fantasy football to tropical depression, here's Cuba, and we've got a sheared storm, very ragged and weak. So we've got still some days to watch this, and I don't think we nail this thing down as far as how intense it's going to get until tomorrow. We'll see what it does once it goes over the warmer waters with less wind shear. But one thing is for certain, overnight when you were sleeping, the maps have agreed whatever forms is heading our way with tropical impact. Still 405 miles from home right now. So as we go to school and work, not looking for much rain today or even tomorrow with a passing shower. So make sure, even though it's quiet now, go to Hurricane Central on our website, okay? Go to the weather section, go to the far left side and see that. You highlight Hurricane Central. We're going to do live videos, updates as things go downhill, which they will. Looks like some bigger impacts coming late Wednesday into Thursday. We'll pinpoint that much more. But first, Lindsay Boats getting you to work and school safely.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Good morning to all of you. 6:33 is your time. That crash at 16 and International Golf Parkway is now cleaned up. Things are looking pretty good. We are following just 2 accidents right now with no roadblocks. This one is at I-95 and Gulf Air Boulevard. Again, no roadblock there, just maybe a little slowdown on Gulf Air. And then 295 in Pulaski, there's a crash, but no roadblock with that one either. If you're coming in from the downtown or to the downtown area from our Georgia counties, things are looking good. And then coming in from the south, things are looking nice as well. Here's a beautiful shot of I-95 and Riverside Avenue, 295 to downtown, 9 minutes. Only 13 from 295 to downtown going northbound.
And now to the latest on the effort to battle the Zika virus here in Florida. Could genetically engineered, we know, mosquitoes, if they're modified, could that be the answer to helping contain the problem? Well, that's the debate going on right now currently in the Keys. The mosquito control district there is looking into a plan to be the first testing ground for those genetically modified mosquitoes. Those insects would be released in the small suburb of Key West. The FDA approved the trial this month, and the company behind this project says it has seen some big results.
We've done trials in the Cayman Islands, in Brazil, where in every single case we've shown over 90% of control of the mosquito population within 6 to 9 months.
With no homegrown Zika cases in the Keys just yet, opponents say that the risks outweigh the benefits. They're mounting a campaign to vote down 2 referendums in November.
In Orlando now, Disney stepping up efforts to protect visitors from the Zika virus. The company is now offering free mosquito repellent throughout the theme park. Joining in on the fun, SeaWorld and Universal also announcing similar initiatives. One couple from Europe visiting says the Zika virus almost stopped them from making that trip.
Could have potentially stopped us just because we don't know like what the consequences are, but we only found out after we booked our tickets. So.
All right, it is important to note there have not yet been any cases of non-travel related Zika in Central Florida.
And now to a First Coast News follow-up. The person who removed 70 Confederate flags from the graves of Civil War veterans at Brunswick's historic Oak Grove Cemetery has stepped forward. The Florida Times-Union has learned the Cemetery Society removed those flags, saying that they were faded or worn. Earlier this week, the leader of the local Confederate Heritage Group called the Brunswick police when they found that they were missing. No word on if they will be replaced. In Southeast Georgia, police in Brunswick say they arrested 3 men after they tried to rob a 57-year-old woman who was sitting in her car on Friday evening. These men here, Zachary Combs, Zachary Miller, and Stephen Ratliff, apparently threatened the victim with a knife as she sat in a parking lot on Canal Crossing, but the victim refused to get out of her car and was able to lock herself in before calling police. Good for her.
All right, big night, national stage for the town of Jacksonville being on Sunday Night Football. A lot of beautiful aerial shots and shots of town. Also a big night for the Big Cats to show themselves off, especially that first team, which has done really well. Looked pretty sharp in the first couple of games. Some flaws, of course, but against the Cincinnati Bengals, NBC Sunday Night Football right here, Everbank Field, a little rough around the edges. And although they did struggle in the first half, had a lot of penalties, turnover, the Jags eventually did leave the stadium with a W. A preseason W. As you can imagine, fans turned out in droves. Big night at Everbank. Most of them told us they were excited about the city of Jacksonville getting a little bit of love from the big networks so they can show everyone around the country what our town is all about.
Friendliness. Most everybody really welcomes people.
It's a good thing. That way they can see they were just not some podunk little city.
It was beautiful. I mean, if you didn't see any of the shots, if you missed it last night, beautiful shots of town. Great time lapses of downtown Jacksonville as well over the river. Jags fans say, of course, the people of Jacksonville are what make the city so special. As for the team, moving forward, the roster about to get much, much smaller, going from 90 to 75. That's as per NFL rules, and it must happen by tomorrow. Keitha.
Thanks for that, Lou. We'll help pour it in after mass shooting tragedy we remember here in Florida. But coming up at 6:50, why millions of dollars donated after the Pulse nightclub shooting may not be enough. Plus, a danger for anyone going to the beach, what you need to watch out for as rip current advisories take effect. Your time now is 6:37. We will be right back.
Going for 2 in the back. Tony Washington.
Good morning. Yes, we made it. It's already Monday, and it's going to be a great day. Yeah, we've got a lot of tropical trouble out there, but this system's still 405 miles from home, ragged in appearance, still being sheared apart. Long way to go. I think we'll have more answers, especially tomorrow when it gets over the warmer bathwater with less shear. But check it out. Winds 35 miles per hour, whatever does develop, okay? Don't focus too much on the intensity. There's a lot of questions with that, but it's coming our way. We need the rain. We have a 10-inch deficit so far this summer, and things are looking better for that rain. In fact, you can see tropical storm trying to take shape, especially tomorrow, and then whatever form swings off to the northeast. This would be Thursday as our main impacts from this tropical system and an increase in some of the severe weather. We'll pinpoint that and have your weekend forecast coming up. But first, let's get over to Lindsay Bosch in the VyStar Credit Union Traffic Center.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Good morning to all of you. 6:41 is your time on this wonderful Monday morning. Things are looking pretty good so far. Not seeing too many delays on the roadways. Except in Orange Park, seeing a little bit of a slowdown just south of Kingsley on 17 going southbound. I've been looking at the traffic cameras in this area. I'm not finding any accidents or anything like that. And in fact, it just looks like a little bit of a slowdown in that area. But things are looking good on the Buckman Bridge going to Orange Park and going from Orange Park over to the Mandarin side of things as well. Looks like that camera is not going to be working. 9 minutes from 220 to 295 and 12 minutes from 295 to the I-10 ramps.
Thanks, Lindsay. Some new rules for all of you unmanned aircraft enthusiasts.
Otherwise known as drone operators. And at 6:55, what you need to know about some new rules the FAA is putting in place for you drone owners out there.
And today, a controversial pastor is going before a judge. Kenneth Atkins facing several charges related to child molestations. What we can expect to learn today, that's coming up after the break.
We begin your power block of nonstop news with some breaking news. A security scare shuts down an entire school district. All classes are canceled for Bradford County schools today.
All right, the district says someone called in a threat to voicemail last night and it wasn't able to start notifying parents until 6 o'clock this morning. So just 45 minutes now of notifications to parents in Bradford County. Our Shelby Danielson now live there with brand new information from police this morning. Morning, Shelby.
Good morning, Keitha and Lewis. The Stark Police Department is the one handling this threat made to the school here, the Bradford Middle School here, even though all schools will be canceled. And I just spoke with the public information officer with the Stark Police Department. He has actually been out of town and he wasn't even aware of this until about 30 or 40 minutes ago when he woke up this morning. So he's heading back in town now and he should be back here pretty soon, and he's going to get together a team as soon as possible. They're going to head out here first. They're going to sweep the entire grounds, check out all the facilities, then they're going to head to another school and really check out several schools in the county to make sure that nothing is happening, of course, today, because they did say that the threat made on that machine was credible. Also, he tells me that this morning, within the last hour or so, they did receive a tip about a possible suspect, one that they are checking out this morning. So, of course, we're going to continue following that. And once the public information officer gets out here with his team, we're going to speak with him and see if they have any new information for us, possible charges that this suspect could face. Of course, if you have any tips or any information, you should also call the Stark Police Department as soon as possible. Live in Bradford County this morning, Shelby Danielson, First Coast News.
And happening today, a controversial pastor heads to the courtroom. Authorities say Pastor Ken Adkins from Brunswick is facing child molestation charges connected to several locations in the Brunswick area, including Adkins' own church, a vehicle, and the victim's home. The pastor recently made headlines with this tweet that was sent out shortly after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, writing in part that homosexuals got what they deserved. And then who could forget last year? He shared these pictures of himself dressed like a woman to protest LGBT rights, including the expansion of Jacksonville's human rights ordinance. Adkins turned himself into authorities Friday. He has been locked up in the Glenn County Detention Center ever since. Now, today's hearing, it's only going to take a few minutes. The judge will basically tell him what he has been charged with. He'll read him some of his rights, and the judge could also decide to take up the issue of bail, which would give Adkins the chance to be a free man until his next hearing. We, of course, will let you know the outcome of today's hearing as it develops on air and online. In the Information Center, Lisa Robbins, First Coast News.
A somber anniversary. Today marks the 11th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina's destruction in New Orleans and also parts of Mississippi. The Category 3 storm drenched the Gulf Coast and left 80% of the city flooded. More than 1,800 people died and more than 70% of the city's homes were damaged in those floods. And with another storm approaching, we're keeping an eye on our rip currents and things closer to home on our coastlines. So we want to make sure you know what to watch out for at the beach. First, look for those flags. If you see a red flag out there, rip currents are here. And double red means do not get into the water at all. A yellow flag means that you should use extreme caution and swim near a lifeguard station if possible. If you find yourself caught in a rip current, stay calm. I know it's difficult to do, but you must. Your best bet is to swim parallel to shore until you can get to a place where you can wave to the shoreline, we know, and of course get the attention of a lifeguard. Lou?
All right, Keitha, thanks. Mike Prangley here with us now. The rip current, okay. It is easy to get confused with all this because there is so much out there in the Atlantic as well as down in the Caribbean right now. The Bahamas working its way in the Gulf.
Exactly.
So a lot of ingredients adding to our rip current risk as well as our chance of rain as we go into the weekend.
It's that persistent onshore flow we've had for the last several days really causing the rip current. So for now, the tropical impacts, we've been talking about Tropical Depression 9, really not seeing much of that here at home. It's more of that pressure gradient. We take a look at the big story here, Lou, is I think our tropical impacts may hold off until Thursday from this depression or whatever does decide to develop. And we're watching the tropics closely. You see the Carolinas may have a tropical storm as well and nipping out toward areas of Cape Hatteras and then heading out to sea. For us, of course, we're watching the Gulf, still tropical depression number 9. And here's the best news of all. I always try to keep it positive, right? We need rain. We have a 10-inch deficit. Latest maps overnight show 2 to 4 inches plus, even some 4 to 8 inch rains for central Florida. This may shift around just a little bit, but the latest track pretty much set in stone. All the models are reaching a consensus. So The big thing we're watching is what about the intensity? There's a lower than normal confidence as far as how strong this thing will get. Okay, so here we are Thursday. Our main impact is it makes a move toward us, this tropical trouble, and then over ahead. So what I'm talking about is about a 6-hour period of maybe an increased severe weather threat Thursday afternoon and evening, and then things get better by Friday morning. So a quick mover and quick hitter, and we'll keep you updated. Make sure you have your app handy. So we got the tropical impacts peaking late Wednesday, Thursday, the big two, severe weather threat and heavy rain. So we'll watch that. I don't think wind and power outages will be a huge deal at this point. So as we look at our school of the day, Bartram High School, go Bears and go sunshine. We got some sunshade weather for you. Temperatures right around 89. A nice onshore flow continues. That breeze will feel good, but a quick shower or two, so don't forget the umbrella. 7-day forecast shows pretty quiet the next couple of days, but notice late Wednesday, Thursday, that'll be our storm day to watch, and then things will quickly improve just in time for the weekend. So make sure you have your smartphone and download that app. It's free, and we're doing updates around the clock until we can give the all clear. Now let's get you to work in school safely. We've got Lindsay Boach doing a great job in the VyStar Credit Union Traffic Center.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Good morning to all of you. 6:50 is your time for your power block of traffic, and we've got a lot to talk about. A little bit of a slowdown going into downtown on I-10. That is normal for this time of the morning. Heading into Kingsland, things are looking pretty good on that base. Things are looking pretty good as you're heading down a little bit farther south on 95 into the downtown area. Going into Mayport, things are looking pretty good as well. Just a little bit of a slowdown here on A1A. Across town, looking good on South Side with things in and out of the beaches, and then going into NAS Jacks, things are looking good as well. Not really a slowdown there, even at 6:50. Buckman Bridge is looking good. Coming in from St. Augustine, going into the downtown area, things are looking okay as well. Just again, a little bit of a slowdown, and that's normal right now on I-10 going into the downtown area. Guys, back to you.
All right, it is 6:51 on the dot. Time now for your top stories to help you get out of the door this morning. A tragedy on a bridge in Jacksonville Sunday. Now police say a man who was hit by a car from behind while he was walking on the Matthews Bridge has been identified. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office reports 29-year-old Ricky Daly was thrown over the railings of the bridge and fell about 20 feet. He died at the scene. Police say a possible driver and vehicle have been identified. They are continuing to investigate. Well, here's a heads up for folks in St. Johns County. A boil water advisory is now in effect. JEA says a car hit a fire hydrant on Ponte Vedra Boulevard South and broke a water main line. We've listed the affected roads here for you right there on your screen. That includes homes on Ponte Vedra Boulevard South, Turtle Shores Drive, Beachside Drive, and Yellow Bill Lane. We will let you know as soon as that advisory is lifted.
Tomorrow's a big day across Florida. It's the day you get out there, cast your ballot. The August 30th primary is here. They're very big races up, and as well as several important initiatives we've got to watch out for. Mayor Lenny Curry cast his ballot at the San Marco Library Sunday in Jacksonville. He says he's confident Duval voters will say yes to his pension plan now.
Put myself out there and said I have a comprehensive solution that will put this problem behind us, and I believe that the people are going to follow me down the road to the solution.
One of the things that critics say the pension plan lacks is strong language on the ballot. Says that it can be confusing at times. We've got information on our website, though, breaking that down. There are a lot of other races that will be decided, too, including Congresswoman Corinne Brown's fight for District 5 and Marco Rubio's Senate seat. You can count on First Coast News as your go-to source for the elections. We'll have live coverage on all the races tomorrow night, beginning at 7 o'clock. You can also go to firstcoastnews.com to see the results come in live as they roll in.
A sad realization this morning for the victims of a deadly terror attack here in Florida. The One Orlando Fund raised more than $23 million after the Pulse nightclub shooting. But now researchers say that money will not be enough. The Orlando Sentinel reports that $23 million won't be enough to help survivors pay for things like medical bills and to help victims' families pay for their funeral costs. Experts say at least $20 million is needed just to help survivors deal with loss of earnings.
You hear the panic and confusion there. This is at Los Angeles International, LAX. This morning, flights are back to normal after that security scare. People in the terminals heard a loud bang, and someone they say was shot or heard a gunshot at least. Police never found anyone with a gun or any victims, though. A lot of people self-evacuated onto the tarmacs, which led to a ground stop there at LAX. Officers still aren't sure where the bang came from, though. And the healing beginning in Italy now as citizens start tearing down the damaged buildings after the earthquake. This is what's left after that magnitude 6.2 quake. that killed more than 250 people in central Italy.
Now, Italian authorities say they're looking into if negligence played a role in just how many people died in the city of Amatrice. They say some contractors did not build homes up to code, and that may have led to more deaths. 2 brothers have been arrested after the tragic death of a young woman in Chicago. This happened over the weekend. The cousin of NBA star Dwayne Wade was killed in a shooting on Chicago's south side. Nakia Aldridge was 32 years old and was pushing a child in a stroller when she was shot by these 2 individuals, these brothers. Those 2 men were arrested Sunday, and police say they are convicted felons. Now, after the shooting, Wade went on Twitter to say the city of Chicago is hurting and that it needs more help to deal with that violence. A lot of money now going into the race for the White House. Donald Trump's campaign is now set to make its biggest advertising purchase yet, spending $10 million on commercials. The Trump campaign really hasn't spent much so far, only about $4.3 million. By comparison, Hillary Clinton's campaign has spent more than $68 million on ads so far.
You know, if we have these real conversations that are uncomfortable for a lot of people, if we have these conversations, there's a better understanding where both sides are coming from.
San Francisco's Niners quarterback Colin Kaepernick not backing down still after refusing to stand for the national anthem on Friday. He says he will keep doing so at NFL games to protest unfair treatment and injustices in the United States. Listen up if you own a drone. New rules to track those drones in the sky go into effect today. The Department of Transportation Secretary is going to brief the public on the FAA's new drone rules. Some of those include a new weight limit of 55 pounds and a time restriction, so you can only fly in daylight hours.
And now they committed to get a little better on defense, too.
And on the inside run, they get to the end zone with the 4th-year man out of UTEP, Joe Banyard with the touchdown.
All right, not the prettiest, but the Big Cats do get it done. A W is a W, right? Right. All right, in the second half, the Jags were able to bounce back against the Bengals. They do win it, 26-21, their first win of the preseason right at Everbank. Big night on Sunday Night Football, Keith.
A win is a win, huh?
Well, I'm going to try to be positive.
That post-victory bliss, though, may be short-lived for some Jaguars. The team has to cut the roster from 90 to 75 this week. They're also preparing to take on the Falcons in their final preseason game. Our Alyssa Lang and Mike Kay will be there to bring you complete coverage this week, both on air and online.
Nice. That's Thursday night, so that's a quick turnaround for the Jags, so a big week for them. And for us, we've got college football season starting this weekend. And all of this bad weather, I think, will be out of here by then. A lot of folks are wondering, can we still go to our favorite teams? Yes. Let's take a look. First of all, today, looking great. But in the tropics, it looks like whatever does develop would swing our way Thursday into the first part of Friday and then should clear the coast, even the Carolinas, as we head into the weekend. So some great news. The 7-day forecast shows the big day for tropical impact on Thursday, 6-hour window of increased severe threat and the heaviest rain.
Things are looking pretty good on the roads so far. Just normal slowdowns where we normally see them. I-10, Buckman Bridge, just past the Buckman Bridge in Mandarin. But other than that, things are looking pretty good.
All right, Lindsay, Mike, thank you so much. Hope you're feeling good after the Jags. Take a little positivity out of it one way or the other. See you back at noon.